this live stream kicking off now. Last one for 2 weeks. So welcome if you're listening to this. This is going to be the last one for a couple of weeks. Right, let's post. And this should go, and I'll look at this instead. Let's give it a second to actually go out. And there you go, it's gone out. And let us begin then. So welcome to the daily NFT market health analysis with me, Daniel Tenner, aka Swombat, where I look at the health of the market based on data rather than vibes, look at what's actually going on in terms of volumes in particular, and currently with two different engines that both create charts, so we'll look at both of them. And well, I mean, you know, this is fairly obvious when you look at these short-term charts here that, you know, the state of the market is not exactly great. I mean, down, 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 down. Like, yes, there's a bit of an upbeat thing here, and like a smaller one here and a smaller one here. So it's not the worst that it could be. You know, it could just be going down like this. And I suppose going up like this is better than going down like this. I mean, I'm stating very obvious things here, but they're kind of worth stating, I suppose. If we have a quick glance at the like hourly, I mean the bar charts, we can see, first of all, like I wanna sort of take this one, like this top 10 chart, and contrast it with the same chart on here, because there's a bit of a difference. So if you look here in particular, you'll see that there's this kind of steady rise, like there's this kind of spike here and then this steady rise, and this is supposed to be the same chart here, and we've got this sort of spike here and thing, but we don't have the steady rise. And the reason for that is that this chart actually includes, thank you, this chart actually includes wrapped ETH offers and sweeps, but I don't think there's a lot of sweeps going on in the top 10. And this chart doesn't include those wrapped ETH offers. And that's important, that can be important when looking at certain trends, because if we look at the top 10 here, we might be forgiven for saying, hey, like, you know, actually, if you draw a straight line down here, I mean, I'm not drawing it very well here, but basically if you draw a straight line down here, it looks like maybe we're breaking past this line, and there's also an increase in price as well. So like there's a couple of reasons to feel bullish, and I'm not saying that that's not real, as in that it's impossible. It just depends on how you count. It may be that counting without wrapped ETH offers makes more sense than counting with wrapped ETH offers. I'm presenting the data as it is. I should probably have a mode here to count without wrapped ETH offers, just to be able to see the difference between the two charts. But this one is including wrapped ETH offers at the moment. So let's remove the raw data there. And the thing is, if you look here, what you'll see is that it's fairly obvious that we've not actually broken the trend in this one. So if you include wrapped ETH offers, we're not actually above the downtrend. We're still in the downtrend. And if you don't include wrapped ETH offers, it looks like maybe we're just peaking above it. So which one you choose to believe, obviously, is up to you. I'm not sure why, by the way, there's this kind of rise in prices here. I'm not sure what project. I mean, other side is not tracked in the top 10. That's the one that I know pumped recently. So I'm not sure what it is that caused this bump here. I would investigate that, but I don't really have the time today. I'm a little bit suspicious of this bump. It could be a problem with the data. I don't think so, but who knows? Anyway, so you might choose to be bullish about this, or you might feel like actually it's not really that much, and you've got both sets of data providing both possibilities. Either way, even if this is a bullish sign, at best it's a sign of like that we're maybe breaking the trend and starting to head up. It's not a sign, I doubt it's a sign that we're sort of like heading up, like straight up like this. It's a sign that maybe we've bottomed out, which is plausible, because if you think about this, we have like a lowest here, a slightly higher here, a slightly higher here. It could be that we're now in some kind of like long-term trend like this. That would be a positive thing. It would mean probably that come out of the festival I'm going to around here. So let's see what that looks like at the time. I won't have looked at the charts, I don't think so anyway, while I'm at the festival. I shouldn't, I hope I won't. But Yeah, so there's reasons to both be bullish and not less like and be cautious. And I wouldn't make any rash decisions based on this tiny little thing. I don't think it's enough to make a decision. But it's also worth noting that it is happening, and there is this curious rise in the price index there. Um, if we look at the other indices, unfortunately, they're not. I mean, you can see very clearly here that they're all kind of looking fairly similar. There's not a lot of extra information to be gleaned from them. By the way, feel free to ask questions if you want me to answer some questions. But anyway, if you look at the other indices, like, you know, the Zeneca Old is also got this kind of like down and then this kind of recent peak, a recent peep, I would even say. Same for Zeneca New, although the peep here is a bit smaller and less impressive. And same for the women-led projects, again with a relatively unimpressive peep. So the whole market seems to be behaving roughly in lockstep with a kind of general downtrend, with a small rebound recently, which is already stalled. I mean, it might continue. So, you know, like things never go straight up. So even if it's going to go straight up, it's going to go like this. That's the most optimistic straight up that you can get. But yeah, it's better than it could be, but not a whole lot, especially since if we look at the general long-term picture, we can see that in terms of volumes there, we're at, yeah, like, you know, we're at low bear market levels right now. Yes, we got lower here because that was a catastrophic downturn, even for the top 10, but like based on the previous bear markets of October, November, December, and February, March, we're at some of the lowest levels of volume for that time. So not the best place to be, and certainly a long way to go before we're resuming healthy activity in this market. Let's have a quick look at crypto as well. I don't think there's much to add by looking at this one, other than this note that things are slightly different. I think soon after I come back from the festival, I'm already able to generate some of these charts based on this engine. So I'll be switching over at some point soon-ish, but after I come back. If we have a look instead at Bitcoin, or like, you know, crypto, because that's the thing we tend to look at. So, I mean, I'm feeling quite bearish about this. At the same time, I do observe, like, you know, the counter argument is that this is actually potentially a bullish pattern because we're getting higher lows and we are getting very slightly higher highs. Another way to look at it is actually the high is so much slightly higher that maybe this is a kind of a double top kind of thing and it's going to come back down. My sense is it's going down. That's why I switched my Ethereum into USDC. But I might be wrong. And Ethereum looks actually more bullish than Bitcoin. I mean, there's a kind of nice line here that's like looks reasonably bullish and they're still holding. So things could go okay. But then again, you know, if Bitcoin crumbles again back to 18K, Ethereum is definitely going to follow it. Hello to Kansas. Gordon, any thoughts on the impact of RL events on the value of a project? Robin, we're about 8-9 minutes into it, so we've reviewed the charts and stuff, which you can see here, and we're now talking about crypto and then answering some questions. It's a fairly rapid one, this one. So Gordon, well, I mean, basically it depends on the project. Like, we can see that a number of projects have managed to drive hype with real life events, like Ape Fest and so on. Like, you know, NFT NYC clearly has had some kind of impact on projects on the top 10. So if we look at, in fact, on all projects, this is NFT NYC. So, you know, it was in a deep bear market before NFT NYC happened, and it's now returning to a deep bear market. And during this spike, the price has increased a little bit. So this is real life events driving the market. Like, this is data that shows us that this happened. Because I don't think there's no other good reason why there would be this spike and like all this extra activity. Like, that feels to me like conclusive evidence that NFT NYC did impact the market. Now, my theory was that it wouldn't, and I was wrong. I'm often wrong, and it's important to make your own theories and test them yourself. So this was, I don't know why I'm doing a cross on it. This was NFT NYC, and it did influence the market. But kind of like, you know, news pumps tend to sort of have a kind of sharp effect and then drop off. I think real life events tend to have that kind of effect as well. If we look at this here, you can see, for example, this is Doodles announcing that Pharrell Williams is, and in fact, we can see it even better here, I think. Yeah, this pink thing here is Doodles. And you can see that it had some effect. Like if we just take, we can mouse over here and see just Doodles. You can see that it had some effect over over the volumes, and it lasted for like a day or two. Just over a day, basically. And that is an effect like that news pumps tend to have. And that was in real life event as well. So that was Doodles announced, like, you know, doing a kind of really cool event and announcing that Pharrell Williams was going to be their creative director or brand director or something like that. So it has an effect, but that volume effect definitely is temporary. The price might be a bit. So if we look at Doodles on Nifty Price, for example, which tracks the floor prices fairly well. If we look here, their price is still up on the day even. Hold on, let's have a look at what happens to their floor price. So let's zoom for the last month. This is the pump that they just had. It did raise up. It's gone back down. So it's kind of, it doesn't, and that's typically like what I see. It doesn't tend to have a very long-term effect on the price. There's a kind of bump from the news event, from the real life event, if they drive some hype, and then it kind of comes back down. And like, you know, volume follows. Actually, let me switch back to this one. Price follows volume. So as the volume comes back down, eventually the price follows. It usually is a bit slow. It doesn't follow immediately, but you've got this kind of, like, one way to draw it is like the price, like if this is the volume and you've got this kind of spike in volume here, but then it comes back down to background levels, and this is the price might be hovering around here, and then it goes up when the pump is happening, and then it starts to coast down and so on, and so like goes back down over time, and it trends back to whatever the actual perceived real value of the project is. Which is why I believe that it's never a good idea to buy into a pump, because the chances that you catch it here are extremely low. You're much more likely to catch it here, and then what you're just buying into is this long, slow decline. So if you see a pump, unless you've caught it really early and you know that you're early and you know that you're one of the people who's able to buy here, and then you're feeling confident that you're going to be around to make sure you start selling around here, well, chances are you're just buying into this long, slow coasting downwards. And that's why I don't tend to buy into hype pumps either. I don't trust that my timing is going to be that much better, that like good enough to actually catch the beginning of the pump. So what I end up buying is just this, and that's just not worth buying, obviously. So that's real life events. Like, they tend to act like news pumps in my experience. So if you know a real life event is coming and you think they're going to execute it really well and have some really big news, it can be worth like buying some stuff there. Although what might also happen is that you've got your real life event happening here, and what happens is people know that the real life event is coming, and they also all believe that it's going to be really good, so they start buying up, and volume goes up as the real life event approaches. And sometimes there's still a spike here before it goes back down, but sometimes there's the buy the rumor, sell the news thing, and the event turns out to be not quite good enough based on the unrealistic expectations people have made. And actually, right as soon as the event happens, the volumes drop off. So again, there it can be dangerous depending on if you know it's coming like a few weeks later and you really believe in it, you know, that's probably worth buying here. It's probably less worth buying here, and it's definitely not worth buying just before the event. Well, unless you're lucky and you catch one of these. So that's my views on real life events. Hopefully that's helpful. Any other questions? This is the last stream that I'm doing for a couple of weeks. So if you want a question answered, you need to ask it now, or else you're going to have to wait for a couple of weeks. You're welcome, Gordon. I hope this was a helpful answer. I know, Dickenza, you're going to have to live without me for 2 weeks. I know it's very difficult. Why does this thing not load properly? I know it's very difficult, but I'm sure you'll manage. I believe in you. You can do it. I believe in you. Maybe if I just drag this thing a little bit. I think I need a better charts engine. Ugh. It seems to be struggling. And look at that, it's not setting the bars properly. Anyway, yeah, I might also upgrade the visual engine I'm using. So yeah, I like, what do I want to add as closing thoughts before going away for 2 weeks? Please do join the Discord and look at the charts for yourself. There is a channel in the Discord called Market Health where you'll get the top 10 charts every 4 hours, and there's the Advanced Charts channel where you'll get all the charts every 4 hours. So that includes, if I drag this here, that includes the like, you know, Zeneca News, Zeneca Org, and all that sort of stuff. And there are people in the public discussions channel who might be able to talk about the charts with you, although there's not that much discussion about the charts, so maybe you'll have to start that yourself. But it's a good place to get that data about the market, which no one else is publishing this yet. There's a very small handful of people who have access to the new charts engine, which, as you can see, has some issues occasionally. This, I mean, you know, you just drag this handle a bit, and there you go. Your thing is better, and sort of hide the raw data, and it's usable now. But there's a few issues like this, like, you know, it's not quite ready for public, like for broader consumption, but it will get there when I come back. So I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks, especially the Kansas, but especially everybody else. But especially everybody, including the Kansas. And I will see you in a couple of weeks, I guess. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be lots of exciting stuff happening in the NFT market in that time. And I'm afraid you'll have to get your news elsewhere. But there are a few other accounts that you can follow. Punk9059 is always a good one for like charts and data analysis of the market. So I'll recommend that one. Cool. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful couple of weeks, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care, everybody.